went to see if I had mail, and when I did, I saw 4 envelopes and a flyer. I immediately put the mail back in and shut the mailbox. Went to the grocery store and bought 32 items. After my purchase, I immediately turned around, put all the items back, returned the cart, got in my car, and drove back home. Just moved into a beautiful home in the suburbs, and I was digging up brand new plants I recently planted earlier that morning, when one of my new neighbors approached me holding a casserole dish. She said, "Welcome to the neighborhood." I smiled. She smiled. This lasted approximately 8 seconds. Our smiles decreased into a resting face. I went inside and unwrapped the casserole dish to discover a delicious apple pie. The smell was delectable. I immediately walked over to the new neighbor's house, knocked on the door, and when she answered, I strangled her till her eyes were strawberry red. One of her eyes popped out of her head, which made a noise similar to a suction cup on a shower wall mixed with someone cracking their knuckles before typing out a resignation letter. The smell, also delectable. Drove to the hardware store to return some gardening tools when I stumbled across a sale on eggshell linen white 5-gallon paint buckets. I purchased the paint and returned home. 3 to 5-gallon paint buckets. I cracked open one of the buckets and started towards my half-dug-up garden. I was just finishing up pouring the last drop of paint on some lilacs when I saw one of my neighbors glance over in what looked like confusion and concern. I smiled at them so hard that my ears and jaw were in pain for a week solid. Headed to town to drop off some mail at the local post office when I had a reoccurring memory of a delightful weekend I had up north in the mountains of New Hampshire. This one particular day on the vacation was surreal, and it was one of these many days that I could have recorded in my head and played back on a hologram had technology been suitable for the time. The sun was beautiful and seemed to stay in the same place as if telling me, "Go ahead, this one's on me, fella." Management in the sky. I was surrounded by family, friends, and locals. We had fires, wine, and laughs. When I came out of my memory, I was stripped down to my underwear, holding a postal worker hostage with a fire extinguisher spray nozzle in their mouth. I was covered in feces and had guns pointed at me by the local and surrounding town police. I asked if I could take back the mail I dropped off previously. Went on a mountain bike ride to a local swimming hole down near the train tracks when I was stopped by a gentleman in an orange jumpsuit. His face looked long and drawn out, and his eyes were sunken in almost as if he had permanent yellowish healing hematomas. He asked if I had a cigarette, and I told him if I had smoked I'd spare one. He then took out a cigarette and lit it up, looking to the side into the horizon. "Good day for some grape jelly," he said. I turned to keep on my journey, and his left hand gripped my shoulder. "Not so fast," he grumbled. "I need to know where I can score some electrical wire," he said while looking over and behind me. Just then 2 police cars showed up and the man ran into the woods. "Stop right there. Stop. Stop," exclaimed one of the police officers as he ran down the rocky hill after the man into the woods. Both police were in pursuit of the individual. Crack, crack, crack. I heard coming out of the woods, so I jumped into one of the police officers' running car, put it into gear, and drove off, leaving my bicycle. I headed into town with the intention of purchasing some groceries, when 4 cops and an ambulance passed me by at high speeds. All I could ask myself is why I needed all that electrical wire. I guess it was a good day for jelly. Took a walk downtown to get a better image of what I wanted to do that evening when 3 bald men got out of a car and started laughing at me. "What? What is it?" I asked. They pointed upward behind me, and there was an old woman, a narrow face, bulging eyes, and mouth stretched open almost inhumanly, hanging out a second-story window. She was holding a picture of me as a child. I knew it. "You're gonna do it," she exclaimed. I took out a spoon that I carry around randomly, turned it sideways, bit into it, and twisted my teeth out facing a shoe shop window. Gray grip of assault, a pattern of deceased and dissolve. Dead in the bathtub, waving to shadows, awaken the spirit of dawn. Bleeding the rope, destroying the past, I'll save your teeth in a jar. Taking off gloves, remembering the splinters. The sun was so bright at the farm.